Okay, so you guys looked at some examples of optical illusion artwork, including this final example right here. So the purpose of optical illusion artwork is to make something look like it's three-dimensional on a two-dimensional surface. So we want to make it look like the hand is popping out at us, even though it's on a flat piece of paper. Okay, so we're going to practice this before you guys start on your final. So you're going to have a piece of free draw paper that you're going to be practicing on, and you're just going to use a pencil. I'm going to use a Sharpie because it shows up a little bit better on the screen. So what you're going to do is lay your hand on your paper, and if you see on the bottom, my wrist is included in here. I can't back up my camera any more than this, so I'll kind of be sliding it back and forth as we go. So I'm going to trace my hand, and if you make a mistake on this, do not take the time to erase it. It's just a practice. And again, this is on your free draw paper. Okay, so I have my hand traced. Now I'm going to try to make it look three-dimensional. I'm going to make it pop out by using curved lines. All right, so the more curved they are, the more three-dimensional this is going to look. We're going to make them about a finger width apart. Now we're only shading every other line. So if you make your lines really, really close together, you're going to make way more work for yourself. So make sure it's about a finger width apart. Make sure you have them spaced out. And you're just going to continue all the way up the hand. Now when you get into the palm, they're going to flatten out just a tiny bit because you're going across. And that's okay. Just make sure they kind of point downward when you get on the outsides. When I get into the fingers, I'm going to curve it even more to make it look like it's more 3D. So I'm just going to continue this process until my entire hand is filled with my curved lines. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys how to do the background as well. So what you're going to do is you're going to fill in your entire hand with lines, but with the background, we're only going to fill in half of it. And we use raindrops or teardrops to start off in our background. So you can see that everything is kind of focused around the raindrops or the teardrops in the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with one teardrop over here. And then I'm going to do the same distance, a finger width apart, and draw around. I'm also going to bring it back down to that point. Now you won't be able to go all the way down, and that's okay. And I'm just going to keep making rings around it until I hit something. Now when I hit the outside of the paper, I just pretend like it keeps going. Okay. Now instead of continuing on these lines, I can add another teardrop here. And I can add more lines. There's not really a correct or incorrect place to add the teardrops. If you feel like you're stuck or you're not quite sure where to add a line, add a teardrop. So I'm going to add one right here as well. And I'm just going to continue filling this area in. And this one's kind of going off the page a lot. That's okay. Now when I hit my other finger, now I can fill in this area, and this is curved downward. So then the rest of my lines, I'll just have them curved downward. Okay, so I'm going to continue because I want to fill in half the space. I might add one more teardrop right here. So now I've filled in half the background. This is just a practice. In the final, you'll fill in your entire background. But I just need you to fill in half of it for practice. Now at this point, I do want you to pause the video and make sure that you understand how to put your hand lines in, how to do your background lines in. When you're ready, you can start with the shading, which is what I'm going to do now. You can start playing the video again. So with the shading, I want a highlight right down the middle. So I know the outsides are going to be dark and the inside is going to be my lightest area. And it can actually be the white of the paper. So I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see this a little bit better. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to press hard, and this is just like what we practiced with the blind contour shading. And then I'm going to go to medium without seeing a line, and then I'm going to go to light. So I'm just barely touching my pencil on the paper. Okay, now I'm going to go to my other side, and I want dark on the outside. And you want to make sure it gets as dark as you possibly can. So that way when you get into your light area, it's really going to pop out. If it all looks the same value, you'll lose your optical illusion. Okay, so right in the middle, I'm going to leave that the white of the paper. Now I have a little bit of texture in my shading because of the desk that I'm working on. You can see that you guys won't have that because you're working on the smooth desk. Now the next one I want to do the exact same, so I skip it. Don't forget to skip, less work for you. So I'm going to go dark to medium to light. I want to make sure that the lights line up. Okay. Now if the light highlight doesn't line up, you kind of lose your illusion a little bit. All right, so I want my white area in the middle, and then I would just continue this to fill in the hand. Okay, what I want you to do for the practice is 3 sections of the arm. So that's 1, that's 2. I would just have 1 more to do. And then I want you to skip up to the finger and do 3 sections up here. So I would do 1, 2, and maybe 1 over here. Okay, so 3 sections, that's it. You don't have to practice shading the entire hand. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is the background. So if you want to practice the hand first, pause the video and go to the background, that's okay. It's completely up to you. But when I shade the background, it's a little bit different, and I want to use a different color. So when I'm shading this area right here, I'm going to start with dark on the outside, and I want the highlight to be right through the middle right here. So I'm still going dark to medium to light. But my highlight's going to be in the middle. Okay. What some kids get confused about is they want to put the dark out here and go light to the side like we did on our blind contour. But we want to make sure that this is dark on the edges. Okay. So you're going to do 3 sections out here too. So I would do 1, 2, 3. So I'm just going to put a 3 on here. You're going to do 3 background sections, and then you're ready for your final. When you set up your final, you're going to be getting a large piece of paper, this size right here. Okay, it's an 18 by 24, I believe, or 12 by 18, sorry. Your requirements for the final is to have 4 to 5 hands. So on my final, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Some of you guys have really tiny hands. You might be able to fit 5 of them, and that's absolutely fine. When you start on your final, that's the only thing you need to know. You have already practiced how to shade, how to draw in your lines, how to shade and draw in your lines in your background. So just know that you need 4 to 5 hands, and then you can start drawing your lines in here. Now, I outline these in Sharpies. That used to be a requirement for our assignment, and that's no longer required. So we're just going to be working with pencil and colored pencil. If you finish early, you can ask the teacher for Sharpie if you want to go over it in Sharpie. Okay. If you have any other questions, just ask the instructor. Good job, guys.